Okay, so let's see. First, we're going to open up Fiji. Hopefully everybody already has this downloaded. So I wanted to go through these buttons. So for file, you have new, open, a few things that you can do, edit, image. We're going to use this button a lot. One of my favorite things to do as soon as I open Fiji is to go ahead and go to adjust, brightness and contrast. And this little window, I just set it to the side and I always have it there. Metzli, I'm going to show you something here really quickly since you're having that issue with DAPI. And then we have process. We're going to be using a lot of these functions, analyze this as well. Plugins, this is like my favorite thing in the world. Oh, I got rid of Fiji altogether. Sorry, guys. Give me a second. I'm going to pause recording. While it opens, it takes a while. But basically in that plugins button, whenever you download Fiji, it's going to come with all of these plugins. Now what plugins are just macros that someone else from all around the world made, and then they uploaded them, and now you have access to them. So what a macro is just a set of instructions. So just certain lines of code that are kind of like automated to help you perform like some type of analysis or some type of function. And so you can also create your own macros and then save them in the plugins folder. When you do that, you're able to access them through here. So here we go. Let me keep recording. Am I sharing my screen, you guys? Yeah, okay. Okay, I'm still recording. Okay. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, I unmuted myself. You could just leave yourself unmuted. Okay.
Yeah, okay. I think I'm still recording. Oh, I can see the echo, so definitely mute yourself. Yeah, because the echo. Okay. So here's the plugins folder. Like I said, my absolute favorite. And if you go down here, oh, plugins. If you go down to this arrow, you get through all the plugins that were given to you. Oh my gosh, that's so annoying. Okay. You go through all the plugins that were given to you, and then you start to see your own plugins. Like if you see this folder 10x scale green, that was a plugin that I recorded. So those are like lines of code that I recorded so that you can then start to automate your analysis. What we're going to do here is we're going to learn how to create our own little macro. So you go to plugins to the very top, you select macros, and then record. So this little window will pop up. So any button that I press will now be turned into a line of code. And the line of code will be in the Fiji language. So then we're going to go to image, adjust, and we're going to get our little window right here. And then before I forget anything, I'm going to go ahead and pull up the image that I had for Metzli. Oh, Metzli. Since I closed Fiji, then it like left. Let's see if I could find another image that has something that I can show you. Let's see. Oh, what is that? Kind of, okay. So this one is very, let me turn up the brightness. Okay, so you can see stuff there, but you see how you said your contrast was not very good with Fiji? Yes. So then that's what this little window is for. The one that you go to image and then adjust. You just go to auto and it automatically makes your image better. And then you select it again. So basically it makes your vessels or your DAPI brighter and it makes your background more black. So that automatically helps you to be able to see where the nuclei are for automated cell counting. So you should never have to count things manually. If you don't know how to do this, then it's fine to go that route. But if you ever need help, just Zoom me and we'll schedule like a 30-minute Zoom session and I can walk you through something like super simple to try to help you automate it instead of manually counting. Is that good? Okay. So awesome. So now we can go ahead and continue. What else did I have? Plugins, macros, set of commands, drag it in. Okay. So you see all of my commands for everything that I just pressed is right here. So if I want to automate, all I have to do is highlight my code and take it with me to where my code is at. I don't need any of this, so I just delete it. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to teach you guys is right here. So you go to your Fiji app folder. Okay, this is where the Fiji application was. That's what you open, your application. But there's all this other stuff that comes with the Fiji folder when you download it. If you go to your plugins folder, plugins, this is where you save all of your macros that you create. You save them all here, give them a name, and you save them as .ijm. Okay, so write that down if you're going to be working with Fiji, .ijm. That's what you save them as. And that's the Fiji coding language. But once you,
Maria,
yeah,
can I just interject real quick?
yeah,
So that IJM surname is going to translate into Java-based code. So if you know Java, you can just write Java code with that surname. There are other texts. So Fiji runs on Java predominantly, but you can also write in other languages, such as Python or R-based languages, but that's going to change the surname. And if you're interested in that, Google what that file extension is going to be, and then it'll run those macros as if they were from that language. But
yeah.
for this is specifically Java.
Yeah, I'll show them that in a second. But yeah, it's really cool. It's so variable, so much you can do with it. But basically, the point is no matter what language you use, go ahead and use the correct extension and then save them in your plugins folder. Once you save your macros in your plugins folder, it's really cool because you can access them from this button just by going down that arrow. So it's just cool. Now, I'm gonna open up one of my plugins. So all you gotta do is drag it in. So if there's no one to show you, like when we were first learning, I thought you just double click on this like you would a normal file and that it would open and it would automatically know, okay, I need to open in Fiji. And that's not the case. You definitely have to drag it in and then it pops open in this window right here. And then basically anything that you drag in, it'll just add another little like window here. Oh, I didn't get this guy. Okay. So then this window is really cool. This is where all of your scripts are at. And so today I'm going to teach you how to make this one. But first we're going to walk through what this is. I think you have to just click Control Shift N and this window will pop open and it'll be empty. And this means that you can start writing your code to create your automated set of instructions, which is the macro. Now, here you have your own folder, you have file, new, so I'm going to start a new one. You have edit, so there's just things you can do. Language, this is what Jose was talking about. So you have bean shell, closure, groovy, IJ1 macro. This is the one that I stick with because whenever you record your macro, this is the language that it gives you. This is the Fiji language, which is based on Java. Then you have Java, JavaScript, Python, R, Ruby, Scala, and none. So if there's a language that you're really comfortable with, you can try. with Andrew, he's very, very comfortable with R. So he did try, but he was like stuck on line 1. He was like, I don't know how to like give any of the commands from the graphical user interface and then turn them into like code. So there's like, I didn't know how to do that either. So we just kept it as IJ1, and like it's okay. I don't know, it's fine. I'm okay with it. So then we also have templates. So this is really cool. I'm not super good at these templates just yet, but they also offer tutorials. So you can go ahead, and I do recommend this summer, if you are not teaching, then definitely take like an hour a day and just go through like one of the tutorials, go through the resources that I sent you guys. Definitely start reading the programmer's guide, start doing things. But this is like, once you're ready to apply some of what you've learned, it's some really nice resources. We've got TrackMate Intro, ImageJ1.x, batch. So here you have batch processing. This is automation. So this is how you make those folder-based automation processes. So you have Groovy and IJ1 macro, Python, and then I'm going to click on this process folder, IJ1 macro. And it's pretty cool because it kind of guides you through what it is you're looking at. So here we have a file that it labels input and a file that it labels output. And then for your string, you have a suffix. So your input folder is going to be, for example, Laura and I just had an experiment and we have about 100 pictures maybe. So I want Fiji to go in and take all 100 pictures from that input folder. And then I want Fiji to create an output folder for me. And then all of the pictures that have this suffix, it is going to process in whatever way I tell it to. So here the suffix is .tiff, but for Laura and I, it's .vsi because we use the time-lapse microscope. And that one gives you like a video. And so the suffix is .vsi. So if I left this as .tiff, it wouldn't take any images from my folder and it wouldn't process anything. But with .vsi, it'll go ahead and process all that. Now there's two like chunks of script here. So here's the folder input. So this is a for loop. This is a for loop that comes ready for you. And it's just basically saying, okay, you're going to grab the input folder and you're going to create a list of all the files that are in there. And then you're going to, if each file ends with that suffix that you requested, then it's going to process it. And then how is it going to process it? So this is your second function right here. And this is where, whenever you record, like whatever it is you're recording that you want to automate, that you want to perform, whatever plugins and functions you want to perform, you just copy and paste that, and then you place that in here. And so now it will go ahead, for example, if we want to add a scale bar, it'll go in and take every single file, add a scale bar, save it the way that you want, and then it'll save it inside of your new folder. So when I first started in this lab, even if I had 100 or 500 images, I would have to do that manually for each image because I didn't know that this even existed. So I'm hoping to save you guys time here. Now, that's how you access that, but this is the one that I actually prefer. I like my code to be like this. And let me go ahead and go to options, and we're gonna go to font size, and we're gonna increase it to 16. Okay, if you guys want me to make it bigger, please let me know and I can do that. This is how I prefer the code. Input is equal to, so I'm creating my variable that's called input. Get directory. This is a function from Fiji. And basically, this is my input directory. So this is the folder, like whenever I click this line of code, it's going to have a pop-up window. And in that window is going to ask me, hey, which folder from your laptop do you want me to process? Which folder is your input folder? And I like it that it asks me that because I have so many different things that I'm doing. And so on different folders, I'm applying different functions and plugins and stuff. So I want it to ask me every single time, and I want to go and tell it. And then it says which output folder. Now here, this is where I create my own output folder and I try to nest it because I've tried different ways of organizing things and I always lose them. So the best way to stay organized is wherever your input folder is, create another folder inside of it. And that's going to be your output folder with whatever outcome. So you can label it accordingly. And then the suffix that I'm using. And then for the process folder, the first function, I just kept it the same. And then for the process folder, the second function, I kept it, this is where I wrote my lines of code. So this is it's a little bit more advanced, but I did want to show you guys because if you have any Z-stack or if you take like multiple images at once, this is really going to help you. And you have to know quite a lot to be able to write this kind of code or to be able to just organize it. And there are better ways of doing this, but I'm still not an expert coder. So I'm really proud of myself just for doing it this way. So I'm going to show you guys what I mean right now. Right here, stack.setSlice. So if you took 10 pictures at once and they're all saved kind of like on one image, so it looks like a Z stack, but you only want to take the first image, you just put n equals 1 and that will take the first image for you. And then you're going to duplicate that. And then you're going to run enhanced contrast. And that's like this button right here where you click auto. That's enhanced contrast. Then I want it to be a red, green, blue color image. Then I'm adding properties. I'm adding a scale bar. Okay, so here, yeah, I'm adding my scale bar. Then you're saving it as a TIFF. And then I want it to say whatever was named plus the number 1 because it was the first slice. And then I want to close only that first image. So with Fiji, I don't know if you guys have already started looking at the programmer's guide or all the other resources that I sent you, but there are different functions for close in Fiji. And they're all a little different, and you really have to become familiar with them because there's one close function that will close all of your windows on the screen, and we don't want that. We only want it to close whatever window that we were working on, but I want everything else to remain, and that's what this close function will do. So then I want to take the second slice and perform the same function. And then I want to take the third slice and perform the same function. So then down here at the end, it says run, close all. So now that I'm done, I want to close everything. And then you run clear results, and then my code is done. So now I'm going to show you guys how to actually apply this. Okay, so run. So the first thing it asks me is this pop-up window, and it says input directory. So it's asking me what I want. Like I have to select my folder that I want it to process. So I have this folder here. It's called Practice Weka. So I made this for you guys to teach you today. And I have a Z-stack image with 3 slices right here. It doesn't actually show you the names or anything. So you just have to know, you click inside that folder, and that's where my Z-stacks are. I only have 1. So then I'm going to click select. So now another pop-up window opens, and it's asking me for my output directory. So it's asking me, where do you want to save your images once we process them? So I want to go into the same folder. It's called Practice Weka. So you double click on it, and I created this one. It says tip 24 hours. So I want to go ahead and save my processed files in that folder. So I'm going to say select. Yay, so it's doing everything for me all by itself. And so let me show you guys now. Here's my Practice Weka folder, and this is the picture that it took in. So this was a Z stack with 3 images, 3 slices. And what I wanted to do was to split it up, and I wanted it to take into 3 different images and add a scale bar to each image. And then I wanted to save the images for me separately. If you do that manually, it's going to take you like 5 to 10 minutes. And so here that took like 5 seconds. And you see how like each stack has a scale bar of the size that I requested down here. Okay, so I showed you the automated. Now I'm going to show you like manually. So here's my Z stack. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to image, stacks, stack to images. Oh, actually, hold on. So this is my recorder, right? So we're going to start fresh. So I'm going to go to image, stacks, stack to images. So bam, I've got my 3 images. Okay, so I want to check first to see if this image is scaled. So you press Control Shift P because you want to see the properties. Control Shift P. So then right here, pixel width, pixel height, and voxel depth. For pixel width, this is your ratio for pixel to microns. So you write down micron, and then the microscope will have, depending on what microscope you use, these numbers will be different for the different magnifications. So for hours, you can just ask me or you can ask Jose. I think I also wrote them down and set them down next to the computer so that everyone can just access them. But basically at 2x magnification, it is 1.7 pixels per micron. And so the pixel height, it is also 1.7. You just the same. The voxel depth is just 1. And then you can select global. And if you do, then it'll apply the same thing to all of your 2x images. So you just press OK. Okay.
Ray, I just want to make a quick clarification on that. That global button is only going to apply to all the images that you currently have open, not to any new images that you import.
Yep. Thank you. Okay, so then I want to go ahead. I know that my image is calibrated. That is what calibration means, okay? So now you're able to take quantifiable measurements from these images, which
I have
is...
a question. I have a question.
Yes.
I have a question. So what if you have it on a certain objective, but then what if you rotate you zoom in or zoom out with your little fine tune, then it's off, right? Then your calibration's off.
No.
It's not off.
No, you're good. Once you're calibrated, you're calibrated. You are welcome to zoom in and out because the images are growing, like your pixels are also growing.
Pixels grow with it?
Yeah, like you.
No.
Once,
No. So
yeah.
so no
I'm talking about
calibration is
on
needed.
the actual microscope. On the actual microscope, you haven't converted to pixels yet.
Yeah,
Wait.
so you can do that during your image acquisition through the Micromanager tool, which is based off of Fiji. You can input your calibration to pixel and microns that way, in which case it's going to queue off of the pixel array on the camera. So as you zoom in and out, you're not really changing the camera diameters or properties.
Oh,
So it's going to
okay.
stay the same.
Okay, so so the microscope is tracking this in the camera. They're tracking it for you.
You can, and you can do it in post, which is what Maria's suggesting here.
So
okay.
in our cell culture room, that microscope is already calibrated. So when you zoom in and out, it's accurate. It's
Okay.
still calibrated. Now on our fluorescent microscope, I've never zoomed in and out. Jose, have you done that?
Zoomed in and out of an image?
Yeah, and then like taken pictures, because I've never, like, I feel like when you zoom in and out, it just shows you a little, like, it's still the same field of view, but you're zooming in and out of that field of view. But when you take the picture, it's the entire field of view.
Exactly.
Oh, really? Okay. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
So what you could do is like zoom in and then crop that zoomed in image and duplicate it. But in that case, all you're doing is blowing up the pixels. So the
Right.
pixel to micron diameter is still conserved.
Okay, so it's internally calibrated. Got it. I thought you guys are still doing old school, which is like put the hemostatometer on the photo,
no, okay,
take
so
a picture. That's what I had to do. Okay.
you're right,
To
Carol.
calibrate,
Yes.
Yeah, to calibrate. That's what I had to do.
that's what I had to
Okay.
do when we first installed the camera. But once we got that conversion factor done, we don't have to do it again.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
you're absolutely right. Every new microscope that I've ever worked with, when you first get it, you do have to do it the old school way. You get the hemocitometer, you put it in there, and you calibrate it. Once it is calibrated, you no longer have to worry about any of this.
I love it. Okay. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, great question. Okay, so then here we go. Now that I know my image is calibrated, I want to hit and add my scale bar. So you just go to Analyze, you go to Tools, and you go to Scale Bar. And then it asks you like how you want your scale bar. So the width in microns, I'm going to say, I think I said 500 is what I want. Height in microns, so you can see it down here. It actually appeared down here. Height in microns, I think 50. You kind of go based off of like whatever you think. Thickness in pixels, I think I selected 20 for that. Yeah, that looks good. I think that's thick enough. And then font size, I go 50. So for me, I like this. I think this is good. And then right here, you have a few more options. So you can select your color. I like it white, unless I'm working with bright field images, then I change it to black. You can also do light gray, red. So just depending on what image your color is and what stands out more is what you can go with. You can also do, I'm gonna leave mine white. And then you can also do background. So you can say, I don't even know. Oh, I guess. Whoops. So background, where's my background? Lower background. Yeah. White, no. Background, none. Yeah, the background is weird. I've never seen anyone use background. Maybe don't do that unless it's hard to see. Location, you can also choose if you want where you want your scale bar. I like it on the lower right, but I have seen people do upper left, I think. I don't know. Okay. And then you have other options here. I like it horizontal, bold, and overlay, but you can like remove the bold, but I like it. Okay, so you guys, and then now like from here, I would have to do the same to all the images, and then you would have to save them each as like a TIFF. Always save as a TIFF. Do not save as a GIF or as a JPEG, because then you won't be able to do any type of analysis on these images. That I know of. I only know how to work with TIFF. It holds the maximum amount of information from when you took the image. Jose, do you want to add anything to that?
Yes. So TIFFs are great for keeping all the background and metadata of the image. However, if you are done processing an image and making it look pretty and you want to put it into a paper or into a presentation, then save it as a JPEG, as it will compress the file and will actually give you something that you can actually use without crashing your computer. So TIFFs, because they keep so much information, they're megabyte-sized image files, whereas JPEGs can compress it down to lower than, half a megabyte. So that way your computer's not over-processing when you present a PowerPoint or whatever.
Thanks, Jose. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay, so then basically you go to your record window now, and you can see everything that I recorded. So stack to images.
Wait, I'm interrupting. I have one more thing to add.
Yeah.
When we publish a paper, almost all journals have you upload the image separately, and they want the highest resolution possible. So they want a TIFF and they want super high resolution. In fact, most of the graphics I have aren't high enough resolution, and I can't even upload it. It won't take it. And I go into this converter and I artificially increase the resolution just so I can submit the image.
Mhm.
So,
So
anyway, you want to keep both, right? Keep what I do is when I copy and paste into like a Word file or PowerPoint, I copy it as a picture. It's now uneditable and usually slightly lower, compressed,
mhm.
but I always keep a TIFF.
Oh yeah, definitely always keep your TIFF.
Always keep your
In
high
those
resolution TIFF.
in those instances though, Kara, you might benefit from saving it as a PNG. So PNG is like the intermediary between a TIFF file and a JPEG. It keeps the vector files, so it gives you the whole array, which is high definition. It loses the metadata, which gives you like the channel intensity values and all that gunk, right? Um, the thing about these files is that usually they'll give you a cutoff for papers. At least that was the case for uh, the modeling paper that we wrote. There's usually like a 5 megabit per file limit, if not 20. I've seen it go either way. So if you keep it as a TIFF, you might surpass that. So that's why I'm saying that like a PNG is a perfect intermediary for that.
Oh yeah, maybe.
So just keep that in mind.
I might be thinking of this as now they want you to have a cover photo. It might be, I'm not. Anyway, I just know it's a pain in the butt for me to go and try to increase resolution back again.
What I like to do also is you can keep it as a TIFF, and there's one line of code that says flatten image. And so it will flatten your TIFF with the scale bar, and you'll be able to use it for presentations or papers. You'll keep all that resolution and everything. It's just that, yeah, like Jose said, it takes up a lot of memory. But yeah. So that's what I use for all my PowerPoints. It's just that they get heavy really quick and then they don't let me send them. And then they like slow down. So you really have to be selective. Okay. So now, okay, we have all these lines of code for everything that I did. I went from stacks to images. I selected window number 1. I ran my properties and made sure that my image was calibrated. Then I went ahead and added my scale bar. And then I selected where I want my scale bar. So I want to automate this part of my code. So I just copy it and then I go into the other window, which is where my script is at. And then remember, this whole first function, this for loop, is for the folder to go into the folder and create a list of all the files that you have in that folder. And then this second function, this is where you go ahead and paste all of your code that you want to automate like that. And then you can work with it. I Control Z. I did this yesterday and then I made it to where however I want it. So it's already perfect. But basically for you guys who are just starting out, I would highly recommend that you always have these first 3 lines of code. I'm going to go ahead and put them in. Actually, I can email this out. I'll just email this to you guys. You paste it in here and save it, and then you'll always just have it. But for anything that you want to automate, you want to keep these 3 lines of code. You'll have your process folder function. And then down here is where you're going to put in whatever it is you want to automate. So Metzli, I can help you with that for the DAPI thing if you want. Via Zoom, just text me and we can set up a meeting. And then at the very end, this is also very important. You always want to have the run close all and run and clear results for that. Yeah. Let me see. Actually, let me email this right now because I'm going to forget later. Oh, and then this has all of the calibration stuff for our microscope. So for the old microscope, because I have a lot of old images, this was the ratios at the different magnifications. Kara, you might need that. And then for our new microscope, all of our new images, these are the pixel to aspect ratios. So
Maria, I would make a small correction. It's not the old microscope and new microscope. It's the old camera for the microscope and the new camera for that microscope.
Yeah. Thank you. Is this everyone? No. Where am I? Kara. Where's our last email that had everybody on there?
The one that Laura sent earlier.
I can't find it. I'm just going to reply to this one. All right, you guys should all have the code to get you started on automation. Let me see if there's anything else I wanted to show you guys. No, for today,
Can I?
yeah. Go ahead.
Sorry. So for that code, so as you see in Maria's window right here, you can see the function is in blue and some of her code is in pink. There's some comments that are in green, and then everything else is like in gold. In order to make your code look like that, you have to save it as that IJM file. If not, it's just going to be black text, which is kind of confusing to look at.
Yeah, so thank you, Jose. Yes. So when you guys first paste it in, so I went to File, New. I'm creating the new one. That's what you guys are going to do. Then you paste your code in here, my code in there. And then you go to language. Okay, you go to language and then you select IJ1 macro. Boom. Now your code is active and you can actually run it. And then you save it. Yeah, let's go File, Save As. So where do you want to save it? Remember, you always go to your Fiji folder, wherever that's at, Fiji app. You go into your plugins, and then you go ahead and save it however you want, whatever the name. .IJM. If you don't include the extension for whatever language, I think it doesn't save right. I think it doesn't work. I'm not 100% sure, but just use the extension. And then you hit save, and then bam, that's it. You're done.
Wait, Maria, I had a question.
Yep.
Can you go back to the macros you did where it had the 3 separate images, but they were under the same function?
Yeah.
The one you I think just sent.
There we go. Wait, is this it? Yeah.
It had the actual changes you did to the images.
Yeah, right here.
Oh yeah, I see. So is each afterwards says stack dot set slice. Is that just repeating after the close? Like for N1, N2, and 3?
Yeah, so basically, if you remember, my personal stack that I used for this only had 3 images. So here I'm saying, hey, I want you to go in and only grab the first one. And so then I only want you to close that first one. And then over here with this new line of code, I'm saying, hey, now I want you to go in and grab the second one. And then I want you to close that second one. And then over here, it's the third one. Close the third one and then close everything if there's anything left.
I was gonna ask because since you did it 3 times for your 3 images, like if you have 100, would you have to do it 100 times, or why didn't you make like a for loop?
Yes. So for this, okay, so I'm not good at for loops. I'm still learning them. If you want to help with that, you're absolutely welcome to. I know for a different something similar, but a different one, Andrew made me a for loop, but I didn't have to do just this. Most of the time it's not just one function, it's multiple, and they're nested. So he was like, oh, I can definitely, sorry, what? Oh, can you mute? I'm hearing an echo. So then he was like, I can definitely for loop this. Then he emailed me back at 10 p.m. and he and his girlfriend had worked on it and they like created this crazy loop, but it was so complex that I just left my code like this. This is like the baby way. And I know I had like 48 slices. So I did have to like copy and paste 48 times, because if you look down here at this, right there, you see that number 3, and right here, number 2, and right here, the number 1. Whenever I save my image, I wanted to have the original title that it had plus the number 1 or plus the number 2 or plus the number 3, because I need to know which slice it was. Here, the slice doesn't matter, but when we're doing time lapse, and we have 48 slices. Every slice is actually 30 minutes. So then that was like a part of the nested loop thing that made things a little bit more complicated. So this one turned into 30 minutes, this one turned into 1 hour, and so on and so forth. And then we also needed like another nested thing to say whether it had the drug, which was sunitinib, or not. So yes, I'm getting better at loops. I'm working on it, but also it's like so complicated that just to make it feasible for my brain, I have to break it down and just like keep it very simplified.
Yeah, because at the top you made a for loop, so I thought you would because it's the same for
No, I
each
didn't make
stack.
it. So I didn't make this for loop. This is you when you go to templates, and you go to imagej1.x and you go to batch and you go to process full open this one, process folder.ijm, it gives you that folder loop. Yeah, I wouldn't, with my coding skills, I still would not be able to code a for loop like this yet. But yeah, if you have more experience, you'll definitely, it'll be faster for you to pick this up. Thank you, Jose. Yeah, he went ahead and in the chat he put the conversions. Does anyone else have any more questions? But that was a great question. Okay. So I guess Jasmine, you can go ahead. I'll stop recording.